It's not cute and when you're sober. It's funny when you're drunk. It's not cute when you're sober. Okay. Wow. How wonderful is it to go into the new year with a very small, achievable, tiny TBR of physical books that I personally own. Only about 16 books. Look at this. Isn't this gorgeous? Isn't it? This tiny, tiny stack of 16 books. Except, no, it's not, Jamie. You're a bold-faced liar because doing this with a wine glass right next to my feet is a bit precarious. That's not even all of them. You know what? I was going to do this for the bit, but it is not worth it. I have a wine glass right next to me. Oh, God. Okay. New year, new me, or so they say. I've had quite a few heavy pours of a white Zinfandel. Hello? You feeding the cats?
Yeah, I gotta feed the cats.
Sorry, I'm filming.
Alright, Shane, which flavor do you want? Oh, do you want beef entree in meaty juices?
You're playing it up for the camera.
Yummy.
I wanted to kind of explain my TBR. Carson from the Gutenberg Bible say this in a recent video. Going into 2026, she really wants to focus on intentional purchases when it comes to books and culling her library, her personal library, because, and I don't know if this is a paraphrase, but she said something along the lines of she wanted to have a personal relationship with each book. And that was kind of eye-opening for me because that's how I've always wanted to go into book ownership, and I feel like I've kind of strayed from the path. When I was younger, I obviously didn't have that much money, so I was only buying books if I knew I wanted them, if I knew I was going to reread them. A lot of times, if there was a book I was interested in, I would look for it at the library first and then try to find a physical copy later on. I've since restarted that practice. A lot of times when I'm in a bookstore, I will take pictures of the book and then the summary, and after a week or so, I will reread the summary and see if I just liked the idea of the book or if I actually wanted to read it. Sometimes I get blinded by the pretty cover. I want to utilize my local library a lot more, not just Libby. I think it's time to actually brave the library, and I say brave the library as if I don't go every month for book club, but I want to actually go and get books from the library, physical copies of books, instead of having big old stack. Most of these are some sort of fiction. They are newer. I don't think any of these are classics or older books. They're recent publishing. Like I have a T. Kingfisher book over here. And by recent, I mean within the last decade or two. These books, let me explain. These books are my classics, plays, and nonfiction. Over the last couple of years, I thought it would be cool if I bought nonfiction, classics, and plays and displayed them in my living room so that when we had guests over, I would look very pretentious, very smart, very cool girl. And then my fiance called me on it, and he challenged me to read The Jungle by Upton Sinclair. And it was at the time one of my favorite books of that year. I don't remember if I read it in 23 or 24, but I loved the book. I thought it was quite literally amazing. And it was the first book that made me realize that classics weren't unapproachable. I could actually read and enjoy classics. But over the last couple of years, I've been purchasing these classics, thinking I was going to get to them and then just getting a little bit shy about them. So, this pile is a bunch of nonfictions, plays. Some of them are books I meant to read in school and didn't. Some of them I did read and I needed a reread because, bitch, I read them at 16. I'm going to think about them differently now at almost 26. And some of them are some newly acquired classics. And I had this idea. I love the videos of people who gift wrap them and then like pick them randomly. So I wanted to do that with a lot of extra gift wrap that we had. We're going to go through a small, very fast overview of the books that I will definitely be reading before I purchase new books in the year of our Lord 2026. I'm very hot. Why do I always wear hoodies? I'm not even going to look up stuff. I think I remember most of what happens in these books, like why I picked them up. But some of them I literally just picked them up because at the time it sounded cool and it was 50 cents. So I bought it and I've completely forgotten why I was attracted to the book. This is the one I'm currently reading and I put it on pause because the Christmas time was happening. And I was like, I probably won't finish this before New Year's. It is now New Year's Eve. I am not finishing this. I did unpause it. I've not read a single page of it. Horse by Geraldine Brooks is about a horse named Lexington. He is apparently the most famous racehorse in American history. I would have said Secretariat, but apparently Lexington predates him. Lexington was a Civil War era racehorse who was amazing. His bones were preserved for the Smithsonian. He had a very beautiful painting made of him that's very famous. It's also in the Smithsonian. And this book flip-flops between present day art historian and scientists studying the picture and the bones and past Civil War era characters actually connecting with and talking about Lexington. Unfortunately, it is set in Lexington, Kentucky during the Civil War. So a big talking point is about slavery. That's not something I really want to read during Christmas. So I did put it on the back burner. I picked it up obviously because it was called Horse. I love horses. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Now, I bought this when it was very, very popular. It is no longer popular. The only thing I really know about it is a rainbow book with the famous painting of the wave. My sister just told me this artist's name and I've already forgotten. But anyway, he's a well known artist of historical Japanese paintings. I think this book is about two characters who were friends and are reconnecting. And there's something about like a video game that they're making, I think. And it is maybe a Groundhog Day narrative where they keep repeating certain days. I don't know. I bought this when it was really, really hyped and everyone was talking about it and talking about how amazing it was. And the Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow is a Shakespeare reference from Macbeth. And so I was very interested in what the reference was and why everyone was raving about it. I bought it, put it on my shelf, and have not picked it up since. So I still want to read it. It is in my TBR spinny wheel thing, but I have no idea what it is other than the fact that it is a very pretty book. I think it's gorgeous. Usually the pretty ones are disappointing though. The Appointment. I started this earlier in the year of 2025. I don't know when this video is getting posted. I put it on pause because even though it's very small, it is very hard to get through. I think I talked about it in my wrap up. I said it was a soft DNF. It is, but I did talk about it in a previous video. It is also rainbow. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Look at it. Look at that. It's also a rainbow. Okay, anyway. The Appointment is a character unnamed, vaguely feminine, going to a doctor's appointment. We don't know exactly what it is. I assumed it was a gynecologist. We're not sure. And she's just talking about her thoughts. The thing is, this book is just blocks of text. Very few paragraph breaks. It's stream of consciousness. It is like German absurdism, which as an American, it goes right over my head. It's weird. It's kind of distasteful, but like that's the point. It's just hard to get through. So I'm waiting for it to come up in my TBR spinny wheel. All of these are part from my spinny wheel. I'm waiting for it to come up in that so that I can finish it because I have 60 pages left to read. I may have to like restart because I've forgotten so much of it. But honestly, how much do I have to actually understand to finish it? No, I'm not that kind of person, I swear. While the Messiah Tarries is a collection of short stories about Jewish narratives, and that's the only thing I knew about it. It is just a bunch of various narratives. Judaism is something that really interests me as a non-Jewish person. It is one of the only religions where I've actually been interested in learning more, but it's one of those that it's just a little bit, especially the Jewish mysticism, the Jewish magic that certain people do believe in. I do think it is interesting, and I kind of wanted to see more about that. That's the only reason I picked this up. Very quick. It's short stories. It's a collection of them. I don't remember how many. I think it's only like 9, But I've had some nice luck with some other short story collections, so I thought maybe this one would be a good idea. The Ferryman was also a soft DNF earlier this year, or last year when I post this. The Ferryman is about a young girl who dies in a train crash, and she wakes up on the shores of the afterlife, and she meets a ferryman to the dead, to the world of the dead. And the reason it's a softy enough is I was not in the mindset to read a very mid 2000s or mid 2010s YA. I thought the idea of falling in love with a ferryman was so cool. I really wanted to see the like sometimes YA romances just really hit. You know, there's yearning, there's magic, there's all that. And then this one's gonna be tragic because it's all about death, but the Scottish slang for a 2010s YA romance, YA fantasy romance was not what I wanted to read at the moment that I picked it up. So it was a softy enough, but I do want to push through. I also think it's first person present and usually, oh, it's written in 2020. Oof. It's first person present tense. And I usually don't have any issues with reading present tense, with reading first person, with reading first person present tense. But this one, it's one where it's like glaringly obvious that it's first person present tense, and I don't know how else to explain it, but it's like you read it and you go, oh, we're going with that choice? Okay. Hold out. Jeffrey Klugen. This is a YA. No, it's not. This is a sci-fi. This sci-fi is actually a Dollar Tree book review. It's one of my only ones that I have left. I've not been frequenting Dollar Tree recently, and the last time I did, oh, that's where those went. Okay. And the last time I did, I took pictures of the books so I could try and find them at the library. I don't know. I think I've changed as a person. Oh, that's where those went. Dollar Tree book review. Anyway, this is a story of a person up in the International Space Station. For whatever reason, she was meant to come down back to Earth, and she is not doing that out of protest, I believe. I could be completely wrong on that. It's been a while since I've read the summary. I could just open the book right now and read it, and I'm not going to. I think I'm funny when I'm 2 glasses of wine in. Okay. This one is a new purchase. Sorry. My family was visiting. We went to Addison's, which is a indie bookstore specializing in out of print rare collectible books, but they also have some indie books, local authors, yada yada. I think this, I don't know what this is from. I want to say it's Canadian. Could be Alaskan, I don't know. But this is a cozy murder mystery, which sounds counterintuitive, but is a very popular genre. Set in a fairy tale, fairy book village where they're like anthropomorphic animals. I can't, that's a long word. Oh my God. Anthropomorphic animals, and there's some sort of murder mystery situation going on. And also, I have a friend who's really into murder mysteries and will give amazing recommendations. And I kind of want to get back into that genre so then we can talk murder mysteries together. So, this is also a newer acquisition, What Stalks the Deep by T. Kingfisher. This is the third book in the Sworn Soldier series. The Sworn Soldier series focuses on Alex Easton as they solve weird things, weird paranormal things. The first one is a loose reinterpretation of The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe. The second one talks about a Eastern European folklore. And this was an auto buy because I loved the first two, and I've read so many of T. Kingfisher's other works that I wanted to immediately buy this. I don't even know what it's about. I do believe that Alex goes to America to visit their friend. Denton was in the first book. I don't believe that he was in the second book. Somebody else said it was like the best description of a Western saddle they've ever read, or like a European riding in a Western saddle for the first time. And I was like, horses? That's for me. Okay, next, The Princess Bride. So, The Princess Bride, very, 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 very well known movie. Beloved movie. I love that movie. That movie shaped me as a child. If you watched The Princess Bride and loved it, we're going to be friends. I knew for a while that The Princess Bride was a book first, but I had never had any intention of reading it until I saw it in a store and I was like, might as well, you know? Who cares, you know? Anyway, so The Princess Bride, Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. I don't think I've been saying all the other authors' names, but sorry. Chloe Gong is an author I've never read before because I've heard mixed reviews. And I kind of got her books mixed up with Olivia Blake's. And while I did love The Atlas Six at the time that I read it, which I was getting back into reading, finding my love for reading, I hated the rest of Olivia Blake's books that I've read. So when I heard of Chloe Gong and I heard that it was kind of in the same vein as Olivia Blake, I kind of stayed away. I knew it wasn't going to be for me. I think it's because the first in this universe is like a Romeo and Juliet retelling. The name of it is a reference to Romeo and Juliet, and I can't remember it. And One for My Enemy is also, I believe, a Romeo and Juliet retelling. I've heard mixed reviews, so I stayed away from it, but I saw this. It was $5, and I was like, you know what? Let's give her a try. Let's see if I like her. So that's Chloe Gong's Foul Lady Fortune. Oh, I also forgot what it was about. It's like 1930s, 1920s China, 4 years ago. Mama. Oh, I forgot. It's like kind of mafia, kind of not. It's also like fake dating. She's posing as the wife of some spy. I don't know. I was giving it a try. Oh, God. Fresh water. I bought this recently at a library sale. I don't remember what it's about. It seems like it's literary fiction and it's like a little bit weird, and that's what I like. It's got a two-headed snake. I don't know what it's about, but I liked the cover. The Listeners by Maggie Stafffader. I read the entirety of the Raven Boys cycle, the Raven cycle, and I read Scorpio Races this year, so she has not disappointed me yet. This is her newest book. I think it came out this year. Somehow got it secondhand. Don't know how that happened. It is her first adult book, and this is set kind of in World War II, I believe. Yeah, it's World War II. And it's almost like the Grand Budapest Hotel. That's what a lot of people have described it as, where there is a hotel that gets taken over by the Germans, but there's something else going on. I saw a lot of her marketing material, which really made me interested in it. There's a dachshund. Again, don't know much about this. I heard Grand Budapest Hotel and Maggie Stafffader. I think I've said her name like 5 different times. Sorry. But I heard those two words combined and I went, I will be taking that, please. I'm not drunk. I'm tipsy. I still have all of these to go through. Kept Animals. This is set in 1993, and our main character works at a ranch, and she has some rich clientele who she might have a crush on one of the girls. And then she loses her father, and through that, she becomes bonded with some of the girls there, and yada yada. It's gay, there's horses, traumatic things being healed with horses, kind of like Horse Whisperer and every horse movie you've ever seen. I don't know why that. I guess because equine therapy is like a big thing, but like it's almost every horse movie is like somebody has a traumatic event, they get healed by the love of horses. And if that just doesn't explain horses to you, I don't know what will. Okay. Wings of Ebony and Ashes of Gold by JL. These are a duology, I believe. I don't think there's a third book. If there is, I will have to find it. Anyway, this is YA fantasy. This is about a young black girl who finds out that she is actually magical. She's like from an ancient magical line. I think she goes to a different country and finds out it's kind of like Percy Jackson. Not really. I think I've mentioned this in a vlog. This is A History of Wild Places by Shay Earnshaw. What I remember of it is that, of the summary, is that somebody has the power to find lost things and somebody else goes missing. So the first person gets hired to find them. And That's all. That's all I remember. And it sounds interesting, so I hope to read it soon. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to refill my wine glass, and then I'm going to talk about the other books that I have to read in 2026 before I buy new books. Again, I can read other books, they just have to be from the library. Okay, you don't need this is intermission. Okay. We left this pile of books here. Oh my god. When it comes to these books, these are books that mainly have not been read, but some of them were either half read or were read in its entirety for school and I've forgotten about it. So I'm just going to go over again just my very weird, chaotic idea of what this book is and why I wanted to pick it up. This is Catcher in the Rye. I know because it's the smallest book. I don't know anything about Catcher in the Rye. I saw it. I was like, that's a classic. Everyone talks about it. So I bought it. Catcher in the Rye is one of those books where a lot of people are like, it's a red flag book. If you see it on somebody's shelf, run. And I don't know exactly why, because again, I don't know anything about the actual context of the book or contents of the book. That's what I meant to say. Contents of the book. So all three of these are very small, very, very dainty, very cutesy. One of them is Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. One of them is Disgraced by a person who I don't remember the name of. And another one is a play whose name I can't remember, but I remember it was like a romantic tragic comedy. I know that these are plays and Metamorphosis because of the size, because they are very small. This is ripping, but I can't see which one it is. When it comes to these three, one of them is Beloved by Toni Morrison. I think it's that one. One of them is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and one of them is, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe the Oresteia by Euripides. I don't actually remember who wrote the Oresteias. I don't think it's any question why I should want to read Beloved by Toni Morrison and Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Frankenstein had a moment, and I realized I've never actually read it. I've seen many synopsises of them, of the book, but I have not actually read it myself. And I found it at a thrift store, and I was like, ah! The Oresteia is a collection of 3 plays. It's basically the aftermath of one family after the Trojan War when Agamemnon comes home with his new sex slave, Cassandra, and his wife, Clytemnestra, is just very upset that he burned his daughter Iphigenia at the stake to win the war. I think it was to get the ships to go. I don't remember. I actually don't remember most of Greek mythology. I am a fraud. No, I know a little bit. I did read this in school. It's just been a really long time since I've read the Greek classics. And not that I have a fondness for them, but I just feel like now that I'm older, that I'm doing theater for fun instead of studying it, I thought it would be a good idea to try parsing through it once again and see if any of my thoughts and ideas have changed. Russian literature. Okay, one of my favorite, like absolute favorite musicals is Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812 by Dave Malloy, otherwise known as The Great Comet, which was snubbed at the Tonys. It is a sliver, a section of War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy, and I made it my mission to read War and Peace, except I have not found War and Peace in a thrift store, and I've only ever found Anna Karenina, which is Leo Tolstoy's other greatest novel. That's where that went. I did attempt to read it. I got about 10 pages in before I realized that I was not going to be focusing on an nearly 1,000 pages, I want to say. So I put it down, and it is going to be like my big white whale. I'm going to read it at some point. I swear it might not be next year, it might not be the year after, but at some point in my life, I'm going to read Anna Karenina. Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Dostoevsky? Dostoevsky. Dostoevsky. Crime and Punishment is also one of the greatest novels to ever be written. Every classic claims that. But it's something I've always heard, like, you should read it, you should read it, you should read it. So I found a copy of it at a library sale. Let us keep the fiction train rolling. We will go over my other fiction. This is Passing. As you can see, there is some water damage. I stole this from my sibling. They had to read it for school. Then they graduated, and I said, free book, that's for me. One of which is White Passing, which is why it's called Passing, and she chooses to live her life as a white American, as far as she can get as a white American. A friend who is just as light skinned but chooses to remain within the African American community. This is a collection of stories by E.M. Forster. I read Maurice. I have not talked about it yet, but I did read Maurice. It was on my TBR for a while. I really wanted to read it, and I promised myself that if I liked the writing of Maurice, I would read the other books in this collection because I could not find Maurice by itself. So, and then I found it like a few months later, which was annoying, but whatever. A Room with a View and Howard's End. These are both Edwardian period pieces, which Edwardian is like my favorite time period. Everyone loves the Victorian time period, but something about the Edwardian time period just really gets me. Like, I think it's the most beautiful historical time period. Anyway, not the point. The Room with a View is about a young lady who has a very controlling chaperone, I believe, and she's just trying to uh, get away from that person. I think Howard's End is about the Wilcox family and the Schlegel sisters. I think that's how you're supposed to say it, Schlegel sisters, who are both entranced and repulsed by the Wilcox family, and it's supposed to be a commentary on what was going on in England at the time. I loved Maurice. I loved the writing style. It was a classic that was very digestible and very interesting. Since the other two books are not about historical queer culture, I wonder if they will be just as enticing, because that's what really drew me to Maurice. But I think E.M. Forster's writing was very, very interesting. I say very, very interesting a lot. That's like something I'm noticing more and more. If you are my modern theater history teacher from 2021 to 2, please turn away now. I didn't actually read Angels in America by Tony Kushner. Angels in America is one of the biggest modern plays in America. It is a contemporary play focused on the queer community in the 80s fighting with the AIDS epidemic and the Mormon community, obviously very homophobic, and then like kind of intertwining with some weird magical realism and like dream stuff going on. I don't remember much. I did read about half of it. I think I got through part 1. I was supposed to read this for a class discussion and I did not. So sorry to my professor. So when I came across it a while later, I was like, oh, that's that play I was supposed to read. Let me read it now. Gruesome playground injuries, animals out of paper, and Bengal tiger at the Baghdad Zoo. I read this. I stole it from a former friend. I read it for Gruesome Playground Injuries. I think I was trying to find a monologue and I didn't end up finding one. So there are two other plays that I've been meaning to read. Bengal Tiger at the Baghdad Zoo is the most famous. I believe a production featured Robin Williams. I could be wrong about that, but that's stuck in my head for some reason. If you are my ancient theater history teacher, please turn away now. This is Everyman and other miracle morality plays. Everyman is a morality play from early English history, very medieval, not medieval technically. I don't know if it, maybe it's medieval. I don't remember anymore. When they were still doing like pageant plays and morality plays and whatnot. It's something that's covered in every theater history class. And again, I was supposed to read it and I did not. The whole point of Everyman is that every man, like the man, the one man that is supposed to represent all man, gets visited by things that are supposed to be representative of morals. There is a really, really cool adaptation or reimagining called Everybody, and it's supposed to be more of a gender neutral, modern adaptation of Everyman. I did watch a production of that. It was amazing. I loved it. I loved the direction it went into. I love just any experimental theater. So that's my experience with Everyman. And then I tried reading this when I got a copy of it. And I was like, oh shit, I remember why I don't like reading classics. I hate the prose. So we'll see if I can get into this. The Playboy of the Western World and two other Irish plays. I was just reading the back of this and I realized they're not from the same time period. One of them was written in 1907, one was in 1892, and one was in 1949. But I believe these are all Irish playwrights. Again, it's just a collection of plays, early modern history. I really wanted to be a pretentious theater nerd and know about them. And then I started reading them and I was like, I forgot why I don't read early plays. It's because I hate trying to parse through old timey language and dialects. And this, I believe, because it's Irish, has a lot of obviously like Irish slang that I'm not familiar with. So, lastly, for my plays section, this is a collection of plays by American women from 1930 to 1960, but it's a bunch of plays written by women in early modern history in the 20th century. And I was picking this up to try and find some more contemporary plays. I know 1930s to 1960s isn't technically contemporary anymore, but some plays that had monologues I could use for auditioning. I'm growing up. I can't use those monologues for teens that I found in high school. I'm going to have to find some actual monologues by female characters. So hopefully I can find a few in these. This is a collection of a lot of plays. We have The Women, The Little Foxes. With that one, I'll probably read a few at a time, put it down, pick it back up. Okay, this is our last section, I promise. We have our nonfiction section. A lot of these are going to be rereads or finishing what I started. We'll start with Horse People. This is new. I don't think I've read any of this. This is a collection of stories by one person as he talks to his horsey friends. He is a person in the horse world and he just collected a bunch of stories from his life, his friends' lives about horses. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I am writing a manuscript about horsey people, horses, and a person who is knowledgeable about horses. So I do have to learn how other people write about horses so I can figure out how I want to write about horses. The Soul of Place, a creative writing workbook, ideas and exercises for conjuring the genus loci. I got this because I won like a little competition my class was doing when I took a creative writing class, and the gift was books. This was one of the options. I picked this up and I've not looked at it since. I think it is meant to be like a how-to, kind of like Bird by Bird with Anne Lamott. The Soul of Place, it's supposed to be kind of a writing how-to when it comes to location and describing places. I feel like that is something I struggle with. I kind of just think of everything in a white box. And I'm more of a character action writer when it comes to actually writing. When it comes to reading, it's characters and prose. When it comes to writing, what I think of first is character and action, dialogue obviously being a part of that. And so talking about locations, talking about like the descriptions of places is a bit hard for me. I hope this will be something that helps me with that. The Zookeeper's Wife is a nonfiction book about 1930s Poland. Germany has invaded, and one specific zookeeper has converted the exhibits and housing for the zoo animals into places for various Jewish refugees to hide. I got pretty far into this book before it just was bumming me out and I knew I wasn't going to finish it. So I stopped. I probably will have to pick it back up from the beginning because I've forgotten so much of what's happened, but it is a realistic understanding of the Holocaust and how Germany took over Poland and the atrocities committed against the Jewish population. Obviously, that's going to be a difficult and heavy read, so trying to get through this, I will have to be in the right mindset for. I'm losing my voice. Oh my god. Konstantin Stanislavski is like the father of modern acting, I guess. I don't know. He's like very well known. I read this for class. I read it for class for the first like half of the semester. He would assign a chapter and I'd read it and I enjoyed it. And then I don't do well in college. I don't do well in school. You can hear the fireworks going off. I don't do well in school. I don't do well when people tell me what to read. I don't know how to explain that. I just can't do it. And so at, baby age, I was 18. It was my first semester of college. I read this and I was like, yeah, I mean, he's acting like what am I gaining from this? Like I can cry on command. I'm a better actor than this. I was not. But as I want to approach community theater and I want to kind of go back to the basics of acting and understanding acting, I thought it would be good to revisit this and kind of Oh my god, you're so horrible. I thought it would be a good idea to revisit this and kind of understand more of the acting philosophy. River of Shadows. This is a nonfiction that I tried to read last year. This is the account of Edward Muybridge. I don't know his name. But he is the father of film, basically. Like, he is the reason film exists. I put this down first because it was a bit of a textbook. I like memoirs when it comes to nonfiction. I don't like textbooks. And this was very much textbooky. And it's very small, but I was picking this up at a time where I was trying to get through all of my books before I moved. You might remember that. I made some YouTube shorts about those, and I did a very good job of going through them. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep this just so I look smart, but I'm not actually going to read it. And I've had a change of heart. I want to read it now. Plato Symposium. Plato Symposium, I remember reading as a kid, and I can actually see my notes from when I was a kid, when I was like a teenager reading this. Socrates is kind of mean. They got drunk and are still hungover. I just kind of wanted to revisit this because Plato Symposium is a philosophical discussion about love. Plato is the one writing this, and his mentor Socrates is gathered around with a few other philosopher friends. They get really drunk and they just talk about love and the point of it, the myths of it. This is where we get that myth about humans having a full other half and their true form being two heads, four arms, and four legs. Zeus got jealous and split them in two, so you have a perfect other half. I was like 16 when I read it first, and I'm gonna be 26 in 2026, so I thought it would be a good time to revisit it, maybe annotate it, maybe see what little 16-year-old me had to say about love and what 26-year-old me will say about love. And that's really all I wanted with this. It's New Year's Eve today. I decided before midnight I was going to film a video. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Thank you so much. I think in this year I hit 200 subscribers. I know that's a pretty small number in YouTube terms, but it's pretty big for me that 200 people would see me and go, yeah, I'll check out the rest of her videos. That sounds so cool. I don't even know 200 people, so these are obviously not just friends and family. That's so insane to me. I have some other ideas for not just book content, but maybe like vlog lifestyle content, just kind of expanding what I'm doing with this channel because it's just for fun. It's just to catalog my memories about books and maybe trips or fun things that happened. For example, my family came to visit. I think I'll make a vlog about that. Who knows? I don't really know. It vlogs are difficult. Anyway, oh my god. I don't want to get like too sappy, but I do want to say that making videos is really fun. It gives me something to do. When I started this channel, I was in a very dark place. I had no family near me. I was in a new city where I didn't know anybody and I had no job at the time. And I started this channel because I needed a place to talk about books. and I thought it would be fun to do it at a camera. And I've learned how to edit videos, and I've learned how microphones work, kind of, not really. And I've learned new technology that I never thought I would learn. And I have gained a very tiny, tiny community of people who want to hear me talk about books, and that's beautiful. And I hope to share more of my thoughts with you. And I hope you have a wonderful new year. Okay, I'm gonna finish the rest of my wine, probably have a little bit more, and watch the ball drop on New Year's. Cheers! And bye! The most expensive Jenga game ever.